Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tormek live sharpening class. In today's special edition we will be talking more in depth about the T2 Pro Kitchen Knife Sharpener. The T2 is developed and designed to meet the needs of professional chefs, which is not only a sharp edge but also user friendliness and to be quick. More about that in detail further up in the episode. Perhaps I should present myself for those who haven't seen me before. My name is Sébastien. I'm a country sales manager here at Tormek, and I'm responsible for different countries all over the world, New Zealand, South Africa, Western Europe. For today's special episode, I have with me the T2 marketing manager, Johan. Welcome, Johan.
Thank you.
I'd let you present yourself.
Hi, I'm Johan and I am the marketing manager for T2 worldwide.
Yes. And behind the camera, my good friend and stable as always, Carl. Welcome, Carl. Good to have you back. I thought we would start by showing a bit of the different knives and kitchen utilities we'll be using during today's episode. So Carl, if you come a bit closer, I will show you viewers. So first of all, we have two regular chef's knives. We will be sharpening. We will be discussing a paring knife, also a filleting knife. Here we have a steak knife. All these knives you can sharpen that you see. I'm not sure if we will have time to do all of them, but we will try to show them quickly at least. Here we have a big knife, some kind of butcher's knife. And you can also sharpen ceramic knives on the T2. We will also be showing a bit some kitchen utilities. That is not only knives that you can use on the T2. You can also sharpen, for example, an S-knife or a mandolin knife here that we will have to release afterwards. Great. I was thinking that before I let Johan start sharpening, I would like to say that this is live as always. We would like to have interaction with you, the viewers, so please fire away with questions. I will try to answer them as best as possible during the show. Also, the idea is that the show will be for approximately 45 minutes an hour. Then I will soon let you start sharpening, Johan. Yes. But could you please tell us a bit more about the basic features of the machine? Yes. Would be great.
This is our Tormek's T2 Pro Kitchen Knife Sharpener. It's especially designed for the chefs and the professional kitchens. This is quite different from our other machines because this is a dry sharpener. You don't need any water or any polishing paste. It has a diamond wheel and a polishing wheel, which is a rubber compound with a polishing material in it. And it has our patented knife jig, where you can set the angle of the knife from 8 to 22 degrees. Very, very easy. What you do is you just unlock the nut and then you see on the scale which angle you want. It is as it is a dry sharpener, you don't need anything else but the electricity in the socket, and you need the machine. That's the main thing you need.
Yeah. So the basics is that it's really user-friendly.
Yes.
It's really quick.
Yes.
And you get a sharp edge. And the patented jig, as we will see further up ahead in the show, it's very stable. You just put the knife and you can just easily...
Easily. You get exactly the angle you have set it on both sides.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll see if we have more questions from the followers afterwards, but I think we'll let you start by demonstrating a kitchen knife or a chef's knife you choose.
For example, you set the angle. Now I know that this has been sharpened on 15 degrees before. So I set the angle on 15 degrees. Just turn the machine on and you slide the knife into the knife jig like this. And then you just move it back and forward. You don't need to move it fast because it's the diamond wheel that sharpens the edge. And since you know the angle, so within about 20 seconds, you get a small burr. Then you know that you have sharpened it correct on that side.
And here you are completely fixed in the
Yes.
jig, so you're very stable.
Yep.
The only thing perhaps you have to think about is when you come towards the edge,
Yes.
is to lift.
When you come towards the tip, you just follow the knife's form.
Exactly. So you
That
lift
is
the
no
knife
problem,
up,
yeah. And when you have the small burr, you can feel it.
yeah.
You just go on the other side and do exactly the same. About 15-20 seconds. Follow the knife's form and you get a small burr like that.
Yeah.
Then it's this is good because then you go back and just once to remove most of the burr on both sides. That. Then you polish the edge always from you. You lay the knife flat and you tilt it up. So you see the small black dust comes on the edge of the knife. Like that. On both sides you do it. Lay it flat, tilt it up until you see the small black dust. And after
here
that,
could perhaps be said that the honing is really important.
yeah, it is really important.
Because you get a sharp result with the T2.
Yeah.
But the people that doesn't feel that they get the result they wish is often that they are not honing
Exactly,
properly.
because what you get is that you don't remove this burr that we call it.
And then you have like small teeth
Yeah.
in the
Exactly.
bevel, which doesn't.
But if you do it right, it's easy. It's very easy to cut a tomato.
You get a sharp result very
Yeah,
quickly.
it's very sharp. So about 60 seconds, you get a really sharp knife, a professional sharp knife. And another feature of the machine is that you have a magnet here which attach the metal dust that comes from the knife. And another thing with the machine is that it doesn't remove a lot of material. So it means that you can have your favorite knife sharpened many times.
So it will last a long time.
I have knives that I have sharpened almost 1,000 times, and it's still usable.
I was going to say, we said that we were going on for 45 minutes an hour, but this knife sharpening we have here is by far the history's quickest knife sharpening we had on this. It usually takes longer time when we.
And
this shows that it's really easy. You just fire away and
this is one of the things with the T2 is that a chef often doesn't have the time to sharpen his knife. Haven't got the time to sharpen them a lot.
No.
Because if you use a stone, it can take you up to almost 30-40 minutes just for one knife. And with this machine, for 10 knives, let's say 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
the advantage is also that since you are fixed in this jig, if you're in a kitchen with many different chefs, you always have the same setting, and it's, how do you say, it's difficult to ruin a knife.
Yes,
since
it is.
everything is fixed, everyone can do it. So that's also
as long
an
as you
advantage.
remember what kind of angle you have sharpened it on.
Yeah.
And if you look here, if you look at the edge, you get a perfect edge all the way.
I don't know if Carl can get
that
in picture.
Can you get it in the picture? You get a perfect edge all the way. And on both sides, exactly the same.
So not only
and this is very hard to do if you do it by hand on a stone or anything like that.
If you wobble it a bit, so I think perhaps the light helps the viewers to see it. So not only do you get a razor sharp edge, you also get an aesthetically appealing edge.
Exactly. And it means that you have the edge exactly in the center.
Yeah.
And if you want to, for example, some chefs talk about they do it 70-30. 70% on one side and 30 on the other side. And that just means that you just change the angles of your edge on the both sides. So you can do that.
You have all possibilities.
Yeah, you
on
have
the
all the
T2.
possibilities.
Great. Should we move along to perhaps a paring knife?
Paring knife, small knives, no problem there either. You set the angle. I know that this is 14 degrees, so I put it on 14 degrees. Need my glasses. Yeah, 14 degrees. Just slide it into the jig. Follow the form of the knife and sharpen it. Get a small burr if you can feel it. Also, you feel it's a small edge. Yeah.
You can see it also.
Yeah.
Don't
Go
think
to the other side. Do exactly the same. And this is a bit tricky with small knives, some people think, because sometimes it gets, if you hear, it gets out of the jig.
Yeah.
But if you just follow the edge or the form of the knife, it's no problem. And you get the small burr on the other side. You go back, remove the burr on both sides.
Also with small knives, I find a good tip could be to press it towards you to the back of the jig, because then you make sure that you won't slip out.
Exactly, I did on the other one. Lay it flat, tilt it up until you see the small black dust. And this is the only thing that comes from the machine or from the sharpening. It's the small black dust. So when you have sharpened maybe 10, 15 knives, you can see you get a small rubber.
Yeah, it's a bit of rubber and a bit of burr also, perhaps.
But even that is the only thing that is removed from the knife and from the machine. And we have tested the machine to, the wheels we have tested to thousands of knives. And we have tested the motor for 10,000 hours. So basically if you sharpen it for 2 hours a week, it's 96 years. And also we know it's a Tormek quality. We have the 7-year warranty on it, or 7-year guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we know that the lifetime is 15, 20 years. So it's since it's based on our T4 model.
Yeah, exactly. So even though it's a quite new model, it's the same motor and so on that we have on our other sharpening systems that we have tested for over 40 years. So we know that.
You get a really sharp knife.
Great. I think I will see if we have had any questions. Yes, we have a question from Chris here. This is promoted for a professional kitchen. Would you recommend the T2 or T4 for a home chef who mainly will sharpen knives and pocket knives? Would the T4 give a sharpener refined edge with a GVS? That's a good question, Chris. The T2 is taken and produced for the professional chef. Of course, if you're an enthusiastic home chef, you will also be able to enjoy the T2 very much. The T2 is a shorter startup. It's easier. With the T4, you have to learn the basics to sharpen. With the T4, you have a larger variety, so if you can sharpen other tools as well. But as you say, if it's only for knives and perhaps pocket knives works well on the T2 as well, then it's a question of choice.
Yes, it is a question of choice.
We don't stop any enthusiastic home cooks to buy the T2 in any ways. But it's a bit of difference if you want a broader variety. He also asked which is sharper. It depends on how good you are at sharpening. Of course, if you have the T4 with the Japanese waterstone and you polish it to 4000 grit, it will be a bit sharper, but the tomato won't care.
No.
And this, I think you showed evidently just now how sharp it gets on the T2.
Yes.
And that is more than you need. So it.
That is You have sounded very, very good, because the T2, you get a super sharp knife, and the sharpness of the knife is often what angle do you sharpen it on?
Yeah.
Because you can have an excessive sharp knife if you go down to 8 degrees on each side, but then you will have an edge that doesn't hold.
No.
So, for example, a normal chef's knife is sharpened on about 15 degrees on each side, because they want it to hold a bit longer, instead of having that it would feel very, very, very sharp.
Also depending on the steel, of course,
exactly.
the steel quality. And I think it's important to try to find a good balance between an angle that cuts very well for you, but also stays sharp for quite some time, so you don't have to sharpen it too often.
Yeah. But that is a good one. Another good thing with we were talking about steels with the T2, with the diamond, is that you can sharpen all type of steels. You can sharpen the Damascus steels from Japan. You can sharpen even ceramics since it's diamond. So all the hard steel, carbon steel or anything, you can sharpen with.
Yeah, diamond is the hardest there is.
It is, so you can sharpen everything.
Anything. We had another question here from Jim Goldsmith. What is the process for cleaning the magnet of the bottom of the angle guide?
The process of cleaning the magnet?
Yes.
Yeah, sits quite hard because it wouldn't get. What you do is you just do like this.
If you get it in the camera so Carl can see, or
take
the
it
viewers can see.
To one side, and then you just take it away like that. That is the best thing. Or if you have Scotch tape, that is great. You do exactly the same, and then you just use this is sort of what you call Post-its. You just, and then it sticks in the stickiest part.
Great.
So that's the best way of doing it.
While we're at maintenance of the machine, after some use, even though the magnet removes most of the dust and so on, you can get a bit of dust on the wheel.
Yes.
What is your best recommendation?
The best recommendation is to remove the wheel, and it's very, very easy.
Yeah.
As you see, you just take away the easy lock nut, and then you hand wash the wheel in normal detergent.
Yeah.
Rinse it, and then you dry it by hand, not in a machine or anything, and not in dishwasher. And then you just fit it again, just fix the nut. That's it.
Perfect.
And that is actually the only maintenance you need on the machine. You don't need any oil changes or anything for it either. So basically you buy a machine and you don't have actually anything to do with it except sharpening with it. Yeah.
And that's our main focus.
Yes, exactly.
Great. I think we get back to questions a bit further up ahead. We could keep on sharpening perhaps. We did the paring knife. Should we continue to the filleting knife perhaps?
Exactly. Filleting knife is often, one is flexible, and it's no problem there either. You just set the angle of the knife. I need my glasses again. That, turn it on, and this is where it can slip out of the jig, since it's just such a thin knife. It's a very thin knife. So if I'm doing it to slip out, you hear it says click, and then it's wobbly. But if you do with the fillet knife, you start and then you take it upwards, excessively. Like this, and sharpen. Then it's no problem. And you get the small burr there also. You do exactly the same on the other side. And this is sometimes when people think, oh, I'm hitting the wheel. But it doesn't matter because it's safe. You can do.
We could tell that the machine turns slowly, 120 RPMs per minute.
Exactly. So I hold the knife like this, and then turn it up, sharpen it exactly as a form of the edge. This,
What you could do also is perhaps sometimes, or I do, I don't know, everyone does differently, but to stabilize with the finger on the other side.
You can
feel
yeah,
that,
if you feel more safe, you do like this. I'm going to remove the burr, use it like that.
And especially perhaps on a flexible knife. Because
Exactly,
sometimes
it can be a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
Taking away the burr. Then exactly the same as before. Tilt it, and then lay it flat and tilt it up until you get a small black dust on the edge.
And here, since it's a flexible knife, you stabilize it a bit also with your fingers.
Exactly. And as you see, this wheel is not flat, it's tilted like this.
Yeah.
And it's because when you hone it, it will always get above this wheel so you don't hit the wheel. Yeah. Like that?
That got sharp as well.
Yes, it got sharp as well.
Perfect. I think we'll keep going at it, perhaps. If we will, what could be good, since there is a clip there, we could perhaps show this. For steak knives is perhaps interesting, because steak knife, a lot of restaurants have them.
Yeah.
And when people cut their meat and so on into porcelain, it quickly gets dull.
Yes.
And they're often not as sharp as they should be.
No, exactly. Because when you go to a restaurant and you buy a good steak, and you get a steak knife, and the steak knife is dull, and it's very, very hard to cut the meat, it's not the knife's fault, it's the meat.
Yeah.
Even if it's the best meat in the world, it's the knife's fault. So this is one of the things that is very, very easy, and a lot of the restaurants use it, the T2, to sharpen the steak knife, because a service maybe have 100 of these knives. So they don't have the time to sit about 30 minutes with each knife.
And also a chef is perhaps often gentle to his chef's knife, but the dinner guest eating his steak is
and also in the dishwasher or things like that.
So forth.
So what you do is you set it on. I know that with the Mura we have done a secondary bevel on it, because this is from the beginning a carving knife, a wood carving knife that they have turned into a steak knife.
Which was a Scandi grind from the beginning.
It was a Scandi grind from the beginning. But you can sharpen it as a Scandi grind also, but it removes quite a lot of material.
And also you have another pro as well with putting a secondary bevel, that it makes the edge stronger.
Yes, it does.
So you will have you have to remove less material. It goes quicker, and you have a stronger edge.
Exactly.
So
what you do, I know it's 17 degrees, so I set it on 17 degrees, and you just about 2 times, small burr. Do it on the other side. Small burr there also, and then you remove it on both sides. And as always, lay it flat, tilt it up. See the small black dust on the edge. Like that.
And with the T2, there are no more excuses for dull steak
knives.
No, it
isn't. I mean, if you would get a knife like this in a restaurant,
even the worst meat would feel very tender.
Oh yes, it would.
Great. I think we had a couple of more questions we can take. Mirea, sorry for the pronunciation. I have a business and I'm sharpening knife for restaurants. How many knives can I sharpening with that diamond wheel? we said that it had been tested for a couple of thousand knives.
I know that our French importer said before that they have been testing to 4,000 knives and it was still good. But we say, let's say about 3,000 knives.
Yeah. Also, of course, depending on the steel,
yes,
the size of the knife, and so on.
Yeah.
So that is also what could be said is that this is intended for the professional kitchen and for restaurants. For professional knife services, we often recommend our other system, so the T8 or the T4 is more for
or have the T2 as a supplement.
Yeah, that is also. Then we had Mohammed is asking how long is the life for the magnet?
The magnet?
Yeah.
Forever almost.
Forever almost. Yeah.
I mean, it's a permanent. It's a very, very strong magnet.
Yeah.
So it's one of the best on the market. So it will last the lifetime of the machine, I say.
Yeah, I never heard of a magnet so long that has lost its capacity. Also, but I've heard about people losing their magnets.
Yes.
And you can buy it as a spare part. So
it's no problem. It's one of the things that you can buy, the spare part. A new jig and the plastic parts and the jig and honing wheel and diamond wheel. You can buy spare parts.
Chris is asking, can you reprofile a knife if needed with the diamond wheel?
Yes, you can. But if you want to reprofile a knife, for example, let's say that it has been sharpened, it has been like 10 degrees from the beginning, and then you have had it as a sharpening service and they have changed the angle to, let's say, 15 or 70 degrees. You can do it with a fine wheel, that is the normal wheel, but it will take a long time, or some time. In that case, I recommend you to buy the only extra thing you can buy to it, and that's a more coarse wheel. It's if you feel it, it removes a lot of material, but it's just to be a quick fix. So instead of having this wheel that removes small material, this is when you have damaged knives and you want to reprofile the knife.
That gives it a finer finish, but that is more efficient to take away material.
And that is, maybe I can show you.
Yes, of course.
Because when you start, if you want, for example, have another angle of your knife, let's say you want to have it in 14 degrees or 13 degrees, you start with the coarse wheel and you set the angle on the angle you want. And when you get the burr on this coarse wheel, it will be more sound. It's not as quiet as this one. No. But when you have got the angle, you just change the wheel. And since we have a tolerance of 400ths of a millimeter of the wheels, and all the settings are here, so you just fit the fine wheel afterwards, and then just you do the last finish of it.
Exactly. So you don't have to reset it. Everything is good to go.
Exactly.
And now we talked about reshaping a knife. But the coarse wheel is very good for a badly damaged knife as well. If you really have
we know that a lot of maybe butchers, they do have a lot of slaughter knives and things like that where they chop it. They use the coarse wheel first, and then they use this one, especially when they're damaged. Or if you drop a knife and you get a big dent in the edge.
It's a good. It could be a good supplement.
It's a good supplement, yes.
Great. Now we'll see. We have more questions here. Aussie Crow. Hi. Why does the T2 not use water throw similar to the T8, which can also have a diamond wheels? The reason for that is, as for the T8, you can run the diamond wheels dry as well. We recommend water there. But as I said, this is the whole idea with this machine is to be easy to use for chefs. So therefore we choose not to use water because it gets messy and so on. We choose not to have the leather wheel or the honing paste because it gets messy as well. And since the machine is turning so slowly on the diamond, you don't necessarily need water.
No, and also this wheel is smaller than the 250 wheels. So in the periphery, it's a higher speed than you have on the T4.
But as we say for the T8, it's not necessary
No,
with water
exactly. No,
either.
exactly.
It's just.
No.
So I hope that answered your question. Luke is asking, would it be possible to use the angle guide on a T4?
No.
No.
This is a fixed knife jig that is fixed for the T2, and you cannot fit anything of this for the T4 or the T8.
No.
This is especially for the T2.
And with a special jig. So
Yes.
this jig doesn't work with the, we would say, the regular Tormek
No.
system. And in the same way, the regular Tormek system with all those jigs doesn't work
No,
on the T2.
it doesn't
so
work
it's,
on
it's
this
two
one.
separate systems with separate
Yes.
targeting groups, we could say as well. Great. I think we answered most questions so far. Should we move
Yep.
ahead?
Yes. I can show you that you can sharpen even big knives with the Tormek.
Yeah.
Long knives is no problem. It's just how far do you want to go
Yeah.
exactly on each side. But we know that we say that about 65 millimeters of blade. So a knife like this is no problem either.
And you
And-
see, it looks almost more like
Yeah.
a machete than a knife. that
Exactly.
one,
And
so
also, if you look at this knife, you see that the handle goes over the blade. So when I have the settings normal,
Yeah.
you have the jig
perhaps
in
Carl,
the
if you
middle.
can come closer, we turn it around
Yeah.
so the viewers get a proper look.
Yeah.
I don't know which.
You see the jig is in the middle. But when you have a handle that goes over the blade, what you do is you switch it and then you push it in. But always remember the angle. And with this, see if you can do it in this way, you get the knife further in, so you get all the edge sharpened. Not just so you don't get maybe 1 centimeter from the handle that is not sharpened. And on the other way around, you push it out, and always remember the angle. And on that side, you see, you get it further in.
So that is also a good
Yeah.
tip to get the knife the whole way.
Exactly, because sometimes when you have sharpened knives, we have seen knives that it has the first centimeter is not sharpened, and then
Yeah.
you sharpen it. It means that when you cut it,
Yeah.
you can't get it down.
No, exactly.
This is, I think it's a ham knife, something like that.
I don't know. It's,
And also, exactly the same with the long knives. It's no problem because you can sharpen them
yeah.
in the jig also.
So the length will never be a
No,
problem.
it's not a problem.
Ceramic knives, as we said before, you can sharpen.
Yes.
Since it's a diamond wheel, it's so
Yep.
hard. And with regular stones, you
Yeah.
often have a problem because then you sharpen the stone instead of the knife. with
Exactly.
Ceramic knives.
But you can't hone
No.
the ceramic knife because a ceramic knife, it doesn't get the small burr.
No. Exactly.
It's just
not,
let's see, 15 degrees, yeah. But it removes material. And if I'm, just to prove that it removes material, if we do like this, you see that it comes on the,
white on
you see white stuff on there. So it removes material. And with a ceramic knife, you don't need many times sharpening before you have a good knife.
It's sharp as well.
Yeah, and this is actually one of the few machines where you can sharpen ceramic knives on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I should tell you a bit about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you have very exclusive knives.
Yeah, Japanese
Japanese
Damas
exclusive knives,
or
Damas
whatever.
knives and everything like that. And you don't, since when you sharpen everything, you remove a small bit of material.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's attached, but sometimes the magnet doesn't attach everything.
No, exactly.
So what you do is you take one of these papers with the sticky side out,
Yeah.
and you place it in the jig like this.
turn around so the
Yeah.
camera sees. And these are
In the
comes
machine.
with the machine.
Yeah. And you can also buy them if you want to have them as extras. And what you do is you place the knife in between the two papers and sharpen it in between the papers. Like this. And when you have sharpened one side, you just remove the paper and take a new one. Yeah. And that is to avoid scratches and things like that.
It's the same like on the regular system,
Yeah.
or we sometimes see people put tape on their knives to protect them. Here you have the paper that does the same solution. This is perhaps not something the professional chefs worry about, but if you are a home user with your expensive knives and you really want
maybe
them to
you have for example, there are many people that has a set of knives just hanging on the wall that they don't use that often, and then they have the normal knives in the drawer. But it's
but they still want them
they
sharp.
still want to have them sharp
when they cook their holiday dinner.
Some people say that, for example, global knives, they're so hard and you can't sharpen them, but that's no problem either for the T2. You just set exactly the same as before. You set the angle, and then you just slide it in.
But also that gets very obvious in a way. If you can sharpen a ceramic knife, then you can sharpen any steel, I would say.
Exactly. You get a small burr directly with the T2. When you have the exact angle, that is the key thing. To set the right angle of your knife, and
it's if you set the right angle or the angle you have before, then you remove a minimum of material. It's very quick. If you're going to reshapen it or you put the wrong angle, it will take
longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So it's all in the settings.
Sometimes people say that, oh, I don't get the angle right.
No.
And that is often because they think they have one angle of the knife, but they don't.
No.
And there is a very, very easy way to determine what kind of angle you have on your knife.
Yeah.
And that is with a marker.
Yes.
What you do is...
So now we pretend that you have a knife, you have no idea which angle you have.
We don't know anything about this.
But you want to reproduce the same angle.
What you do is you blacken the edge, like this. You see? It's black. And now I know this is 15 degrees. I place it on 20 degrees just to show.
Yes.
Yeah. And what you do, since it just removes so little of the material, you can do it once, sharpen, and then you see it's just the tip of the edge where it has removed the black marking. So this is not the right angle, and if we do it the other way, I can remark it. So
you can also, now you're doing it with the machine moving, which is possible, but you can also do it with the machine still if you want to.
You see here, it just removes on the side. It doesn't remove the edge. You're not down at the edge. You're just on the side of the edge. So then it's something in the middle. So I place it on 15 degrees, and I know that it's 15 degrees because... And now, if you see now, you have removed...
Across the whole bevel.
The black marking.
Perfect. I think we had a question here from Chris. Can you sharpen cleavers?
Cleavers are very, very big.
Yes, so it's a bit harder.
I've been talking to some butchers, and they say that what they do is that they use the T2 as a sharpener, But since they use the cleavers like this
Yeah.
all the time, they just want to have it sharp.
Yeah.
Then they have to do it freehand. What they do is I'm not going to do it then. They place the jig there,
Yeah.
and then they just sharpen it
So
like this.
they use the jig as
They
support.
use the jig as a support.
You can also
Yeah, you can also do it like that.
use the outside as
Yeah.
a support.
Yeah.
Uh,
Remove the magnet,
yes.
yeah, because otherwise it
Exactly.
attaches,
Yeah.
you know.
but that's
It's a possibility.
a possibility.
Yes. Yeah.
But the cleaver doesn't fit in the jig.
No, the cleaver
at
does
the
not fit in
moment.
the jig.
So I thought while we're discussing cleavers, we could discuss a bit of other kitchen utilities as well.
Yep.
So now we're focusing on all kind of different knives,
Yeah.
which is very interesting, but also it can be interesting that you can use it to some other kitchen
Yeah.
utilities.
For example, S-knives,
Yeah,
as long as it's the right size for the jig.
yeah,
I mean, there are really heavy ones.
yeah.
And then
It's
I'm sorry, you can't do
No,
that.
it's more
But
compact.
I've been sharpening some from the good kitchen equipment companies.
Yeah.
I don't want to say any
Without
names.
mentioning names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same there. What you do is you blacken the edge like that. Then you just fit it in. And now you have to remember what side, because these ones are single sharpened just on one side.
Yeah.
So this side is not sharpened, but this side is sharpened. So what you do is place it in the jig, exactly like what you did before. And we see. And it was 15 degrees on that one.
And just like with the knife, you lift to
Yeah.
get the tip.
Exact.
It's the same movement.
Exactly. And to always follow the shape of the knife
Yeah.
or the form like this.
But you are stable in the jig.
Oh, yeah,
it's-
you're very
it's,
stable.
It's very
Now you
much
get the
easier.
small burr, and you do exactly the same. But this one, you hone it flat on one side. Like that. And on the other side, you do like with a knife. Lay it flat, tilt it up until you see the small black dust comes on the edge. And obviously, when you're done with this side, you do exactly the same on the other side. And we see if we get a good result with this one.
You have gotten everything sharp this far.
Yeah,
You have a good day.
yes,
or a good machine.
I think it's a good machine. And even I can get a sharp knife.
Yeah, that's perhaps
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way around.
And we talked about other equipment.
The mandolin.
Mandolin. Mandolin blades.
Mandolin blades.
I have actually unscrewed them before.
Yeah,
You take out the blade, like that.
Put it there.
Yeah. And do exactly the same. Just
Black marker.
black marking. Like that. And since this is a straight blade,
Yeah.
what I do, I have it on 50 degrees. No, I don't know what degree. I place it in on this side first and sharpen it, and then I take it out on the other side.
You pull it from the
Yeah.
outside.
And as you see, this was not the right angle because it just took
On the
the top.
exactly.
So what we do is we place it like this. Do it exactly the same this way.
But with the black marker, it's easy to find the
Yeah.
correct angle. Maybe
Almost.
Almost a bit low.
A bit low, so it's something in the middle. Like that. Oops. Come on, yeah. There it is. Get a small dust, small burr, and also this.
Move it.
Lay it flat, and then you tilt it up until you get a small black dust.
Great. When you hone here, we have Robert.
Yeah.
Is asking what is the maximum width of a knife to fit in the jig?
About 65 millimeters.
65 millimeters.
About, yeah.
Yeah, but the width.
The width.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I say about, it says 3.5 millimeters, but
Yeah.
I have had knives that are up to 5 millimeters that fits also.
But if you go above 3.5, it gets a bit.
Yeah, it gets a bit. It's a get hard. It doesn't. It's not that fluently. Like that. Test it on this one also. Yeah, works great.
What did you say? And you said how long? So the width was 3.5
Yeah.
up to 5,
Yeah.
and the length is
The width.
The width.
Yeah, it's 65 millimeters.
65 millimeters. Yes. So because Robert asked, so an 8 centimeter knife would be a problem.
No.
It would.
Yeah,
it would
an
be.
8 centimeter knife would be.
But
a
then
problem,
you
yes.
could do the
Yes,
cleaver
yes.
solution
Yeah.
with sharpening on the outside.
Yeah.
Great. Time flies when you have fun.
Yes.
I thought we would talk a bit about sustainability.
Yeah.
Sustainability is very, very important nowadays for many restaurants. How does a T2 fit in sustainability-wise? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
First, it's a long-lasting machine.
Yeah.
You buy a machine, 15 to 20 years. You can sharpen your knives as often as you want.
Yeah.
No maintenance on the machine, which means that you don't need to change any oils or things like that. That makes oils that comes out in the nature. You don't need to send them away for sharpening service. With that, they often go by car, and it's a CO2 emissions. Another thing that is, we use zinc in the top. That is, has a lower melting point than other material, so it doesn't get that much energy consumption.
When produced.
When we produce it.
Exactly.
We, for example, it's a long-lasting engine, the motor, 10,000 hours, as I said, and also it's just 120 watts.
Yeah,
so when you use it, it takes about 1/8 of a normal kitchen toaster.
Yeah.
So, and
also, since it's slow going, it takes very little material, which makes the knives last way longer than on dry belts or knife sharpening.
Less new consumption in that way also. So it's and also you can recycle it, of course. Since it's an electrical machine, you just take it apart and then you can recycle everything.
After 25 years.
25 years, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Great. I also have one last frequently asked question.
Yes.
There are a lot of restaurants nowadays that send away their kitchen knives to sharpening services.
Yes.
Why do they need a T2?
Well, the best thing to say that is to look at the machine. I mean, easy to use. Chefs can cook, and they don't have the time they work long hours, maybe late in the evenings or in the nights even. They don't maybe have time to sharpen their own knives. With this machine, it takes them about 10 minutes to sharpen the 10 knives once a week. And after that, they maybe use the honing steel during the week, and then once a week, they sharpen their knives. We are proud. We're proud proud partners to the Swedish national culinary team that uses this one for all their competitions, and their demands is very, very high, and they think that the Tormek T2 is the machine for them, and we like that.
What I think would be good compared to knife sharpening services as well is that if you send them away to knife sharpening service, it takes a day or two to sharpen and so on. If you are in the kitchen as a chef, you're frustrated, it doesn't cut as it should.
No. You go to the machine, you sharpen it directly. And also, I've been talking to some of the cruise ship members.
Yeah.
They say that they have quite a lot of accidents with the knives when they use the honing steel and the boat rocks.
Yeah.
But with this machine, you can just go, and it's safe for them to do it, also to sharpen it. And it's quick, easy.
So it's good even on boats.
Yes, even on boats.
Perfect.
If you have the electricity on the boat.
Yeah. Time flies when you have fun, Johan.
Yes.
I think we're getting close to the end. Do you have any last things you would like to add before we wrap it up for today?
I can say that some of the restaurants that has placed it in the where the dishwasher are.
Yeah.
And when the knife comes to the dishwasher, he sharpens the knife for the chefs. So when the knives come back to the chefs, they are really sharp.
So and not only clean, but also sharp.
Clean, but sharp.
Yeah.
And those restaurants, they say, I've been talking to the chefs and they love it.
Yeah.
Because it's an easy way. I mean, they don't have the knives away from the kitchen.
No.
The favorite knives, they can sharpen it how often they want, since it doesn't remove a lot of material.
So that's a small tip from you to all restaurants out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Thank you all you viewers for following us. Thank you, Johan.
Thank you, Sébastien.
For this hour. You did a great job. You got the knife sharpened. Also, I think your passion for the machine shine through to the viewers out there.
I think it's a great machine. I think I really love the machine. It's a machine that is a long-lasting and a quality machine, and I love that.
Yeah. I know you love it. I love it as well.
Okay.
Hope the viewers likes it as well. Thank you, Carl, behind the camera.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Steady as always at the rock. And most of all, thank you, viewers. Until next time, stay safe and stay sharp. Thank you very much.